you can draw this in Procreate. During this fun and easy Procreate tutorial, you will learn some really fantastic techniques. We'll explore some Procreate brushes and also brushes from my free treasure chest brush pack, all while you work on creating this winter landscape. Because I think the best way to learn is while you have fun creating something. Now, for this piece, what you need is a canvas of 3000 by 2000 pixels and the free color palette, which you can find through the link in the description. And then if you're ready, let's get started. All right, we'll start with something simple. We'll create a wobbly line. And for the brush, I'd like to use the studio pen. You can find it under inking. And for the color, we'll pick this third color in the second row. The opacity of the brush should be at 100%, and I have the size set to 20%. And we'll start at about 2/3 of the height. And we'll wobble our way to the right, go high, go for something like this, and then drag in the color like this underneath your line. Then we'll make another wobbly line underneath this. We'll go to the layer menu, the two little squares, and then we'll tap the plus. And then we'll tap and hold this layer and then drag it underneath the other. And I will grab this second color in the second row. We'll start a little bit higher and make another wavy shape. And then we'll go all the way to the right so that we have a closed shape and can drag in the color underneath. Next, let's draw a sun. We'll make another new layer. We'll tap the plus and again tap and hold it and drag it to the bottom. Then for the color, let's grab this one, fourth color in the first row. And for the brush, we'll go to the calligraphy brushes and use the monoline brush. This brush should also have the opacity at 100%. And I have the size set to 30%. And now we are going to draw a circle like this. Hold your pen in place and then hold one finger on your screen for a perfectly round circle. Then we can tap circle here at the top. We can move it down a little bit like this. And then drag the color into the shape. Now let's make another layer on top of these. Let's go to the top layer here and tap the plus. And for our brush, let's go back to the inking brushes and use the studio pen. And for the color, let's use this one, first color in the second row. And then we'll start about here. And we'll make a bit of a wavy shape. We'll go down and then we'll go up here like this. And then again, drag in the color. Now let's go and make another new layer. We'll tap the plus and we'll drag this underneath our sun layer over here. And then we'll go to the water brushes and use the wet sponge brush. And for the color, let's use this first color in the first row and drag it on there. It's slightly off-white, you can barely see it, but it's there. And then we'll switch to the second color in the first row. Let's set the opacity to 100%. And we can set the size to 10%. And now we're going to add some of this pinkish color to our sky. Make rounded motions. Don't lift your pen. Only lift it when you need some more color. So you can lift it and go in again, and it'll be darker. Then you can also tap and hold the smudge tool to make your smudge tool switch to the wet sponge. And let's turn on the size to 10%. Opacity is at 100, but well, we could lower it a bit. Let's go for 70. And then we can go up here and again make rounded motions to blend this color in a bit and get like a cloudy effect, making circular motions from the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top. Until you have something like this. Then we'll make a new layer on top of our sun. So first, select your sun layer, then tap the plus. Then for the color, grab the first color in the first row. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller, 8%. And let's create some clouds right in front of our sun. Over here as well. And here. And again, of course, you can use the smudge tool and push and pull a little bit, softening those clouds, making them more subtle. Next, let's add a gradient to our sun. Let's go to our sun layer. Then you can tap that layer and select Alpha Lock. Now, when you paint on this layer, the paint will only show up on the sun. For the color, let's first grab this one, 5th color in the first row. Let's add a bit of that to the bottom. It's a nice red. And then let's grab this 3rd color in the first row and add a little bit of that to the top. Like this. And then let's blur this by going to the magic wand here, then to Gaussian blur, and then slide your pen or your finger to the right on your screen. Let's go for 18%, and then tap the magic wand again. Then we'll move on to our hills. Let's go to this one first, layer 1 here. We'll go to our treasure chest brush pack. If you don't already have it, go to freefromflow.com. You can get it for free, and it contains a whole bunch of brushes, including the one we'll be using right now. Let me look where it is. There are so many here. We are going to use the Pine Trees brush. And for the color, we will stick with this color that we have right here. You can just tap and hold your finger on the screen to grab it. Opacity of the brush is at 100%. Let's set the size to maybe like 2%. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay. Let's go along the edge and add some of these trees. Also over here. Just on this left side, a few of these trees. Now I don't want the color to be different from the base color. Now to fix that, we can tap this layer, turn on Alpha Lock, and then we can tap it again and use Fill Layer. Now it's entirely filled with just that color. Next we'll add more color to this layer, and we are going to use another brush from the Treasure Chest brush pack. Let's go up. We are going to use the Spacklet brush. And for the color, let's grab this one. 2nd color in the 2nd row. Now the opacity of this brush is at 100%. I have the size set to 45%. And then for instance, let's go over the top here. Making rounded motions. Adding some of that lighter color to this layer. Let's also do it over here, but then at the bottom. And now let's go even lighter. Let's grab this color, 1st color in the 2nd row, and add a bit of that here at the top. And then let's just slightly blur this. Let's go to the magic wand, then to Gaussian blur, and slide your pen to the right to 1%. Next, let's go to the layer underneath, layer 2 here. Let's tap the layer, turn on Alpha Lock. For the brush, we'll continue to use the Spacklet brush. And let's add a little bit of a darker blue. This one over here. Or let's actually use this one. 3rd color in the 2nd row. And let's make the brush a little bit smaller, 10%. And add a little bit of this darker blue right here in between. Just a little bit. Let's go bigger. Let's set it to 45% again. And go along the lower area. And now let's go lighter. Let's grab this color. 1st color in the 2nd row. And let's lighten the top. Making rounded motions. I think this looks nice. And again, we can blur it a little bit by going to the magic wand, then to Gaussian blur, and set it to 1%. And then tap the magic wand again. Next, let's create some more hill shapes. Let's go to this layer, layer 1, then tap the plus, then go back to the inking brushes. Let me scroll down the inking brushes with the studio pen. And then for the color, we'll use this one over here, 5th color in the 2nd row. And then let's start about here. Make a line going up like this. And then here we need to go to the right like this, and then drag in the color. Then let's add some trees here. Let's use that brush that we used before. You can actually just scroll up to your recent brushes and then grab the pine trees brush again to make it a little bit bigger, 3%. And then let's go along that edge and add some of those trees. Go for something like this. Well, and maybe a few over here. And now once you have that, you can tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, tap it again, and use fill layer so that it's the same color all over. And if you're having some issues with some transparency for some of the trees, you could also duplicate this layer by sliding to the left and then tapping duplicate and then pinching these together. Then let's stick with alpha lock, turn on, and then use the spackle brush again. And then let's grab some lighter colors. Let's start with this one, 4th color in the 2nd row. And let's go over the lower part. And then let's go even lighter with this color. Let's go for this one, 2nd color in the 2nd row. And let's lighten up that lower area. And we are going to cover this area so you don't have to worry about that part. So we'll go for something like this. And then let's blur this a bit. Let's go to the magic wand, Gaussian blur, slide to 1 or 2%, and then tap the magic wand again. Then we'll make another hill shape on top of this. Let's tap the plus, then grab the studio pen again, and also that same color, that 5th color in the 2nd row. Let's start about here and make a shape going up here. And then we have that lower part. That will be something like this. And then drag in the color. Now for this one as well, let's use the pine trees brush. And let's go along the edge here. Adding those trees. And here at the top, let's go a little bit bigger. Let's go for 5% perhaps. Adding some bigger trees. And then again, we'll tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, tap the layer again, and use fill layer. Then we'll go to our spackle brush again, grab a lighter color. Let's start with this one, 3rd color in the 2nd row. And let's lighten up that lower area. And I will go even lighter with the 2nd color in the 2nd row. Like this. And again, we can blur it a bit by going to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur, and slide to 1 or 2%. And then tap the magic wand. Next, let's make a layer for our lake. Let's tap the plus, and for the brush, we'll use the studio pen, and for the color, I think we can stick with this one. Let's start here at the side, and then go over here, then along this shore, and then all the way to the right, and then drag in the color. Then we are going to make some more layers. First, tap the plus, then for the color, let's grab this one, 1st color in the 2nd row, and let's start about here. go up like this, to the right, and then here we'll go to the right as well. And then let's drag in the color. Now let's make another one behind this. So we need to tap this layer underneath first, then tap the plus, and then let's switch to this color for now. We'll change it later, but otherwise we won't be able to see it. So third color in the second row. And let's start here. Make a shape like this. And make sure to close it behind this one and then drag in the color. Next, let's make another one over here. Let's start here, go to the right, down a little bit, and then back to the left, then drag in a color. Maybe we can make it even bigger. Something like this, and then we can drag in the color here. And then let's make a second shape on this layer, layer 10. Let's grab that light color again, first color in the second row, and make one in front of this one. And then drag in the color. Next, let's shade our lake a bit. Let's go to this layer. Let's tap it and turn on alpha lock. And then let's use the soft brush, which you can find under airbrushing here at the top. And then let's grab some darker colors. Let's start with this one. Fourth color in the second row. Opacity of this brush is at 80%. The size is at 15%. And let's darken this lower area, for instance. And the sides here. Over here. And let's also use that spackle brush. Let's go to the top to our recent brushes, grab the spackle brush, and let's make it a little bit smaller, 10%, or maybe somewhere in between. Let's go for 25 actually. Let's make the brush a little bit darker, fifth color in the second row. And let's add a bit of a reflection. Also over here. Later on we'll have a little house here, so we can have some reflection here. Perhaps a little bit here. And yeah, over here. Now let's blur it a little bit. Let's go to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur, slide to the right. Let's go for 2%. Then let's grab this color, first color in the second row. Let's use the soft brush again. Now let's make the brush a little bit smaller, 9%. Let's make this a little bit lighter in the center here. And we can actually also use this first color in the first row. It's slightly warmer. Let's use that there. Now let's go back to our shapes over here. Let's start with these ones. On layer 10, let's tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, then use the spackle brush again, and for the color, use this one. Fourth color in the second row. And let's go over that lower area here. And over here as well. Maybe we can go a little bit lighter. Let's grab the third color and the second row. Add some variety. And of course, you can always switch to that light color. Just grab it like this if you want to push that dark blue back again. Then let's blur it a bit by going to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur, slide to the right to 2%, and untap the magic wand again. Then we'll do the same for this layer. Let's first turn on alpha lock, and then let's tap the layer while you have that light color selected, and then use fill layer. Then we'll use our spackle brush again, and a blue, third color in the second row, and let's go over that underside. This will nicely separate the layers. And of course, again, we can blur it a bit by going to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur, slide to the right to 2%, and then tap the magic wand again. Next, let's add some trees over here. Let's make a layer on top of our lake here. Let's tap the plus. And then for the brush, we'll go back to the treasure chest brush pack. And then we'll use, let's see, the pine tree broad brush. And for the color, we'll use this one, 5th color in the 2nd row. The opacity of this brush should be at 100%. Let's set the size at 12. And then let's tap here and add a few of these trees. And you can also switch to the pine tree long, which is slightly different. Opacity for this one is also at 100%. The size is at 20%. And let's just tap here and add a few more trees. Something like this. Next, we'll switch to our spackle brush again. Let's just go to recent brushes, grab the spackle brush. And for the color, grab this one, 1st color in the 2nd row. And let's go over here and add some of this snow, this like mist. Go over the trees. I'd like to do the same here in the background. So let's go to this layer over here and let's turn off alpha lock. And now we can just go over here along that shoreline and add that mist-like effect. And I think it would actually also be nice to lighten up the water a little bit over there. So let's go to the lake layer, then grab the soft brush, and then we can just gently go over that area to lighten that up a bit. For our next step, we are going to draw a simple house, a simple cabin. And I want it to be on top of this layer. So let's tap the plus for a new layer, and then for our color, let's just choose, like, let's say this one, 4th color in the 2nd row. And now we'll go to the selection tool, the S-shaped ribbon icon here. We'll set it to rectangle and then turn color fill on. And now we are going to make a rectangular shape here, something like this. And then we'll go to the move and transform tool, that's the little arrow here. Set it to distort. Now let's go in here and then move this lower handle and move it to the right, maybe up a little bit, something like this, so you get part of a roof. Then we are going to duplicate this layer. We'll go to the layer menu and slide to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the bottom one, and let's change the color for that one. Let's grab this darker color, 5th color in the 2nd row. Let's drag it on there. You can't see anything over here, but this one is darker now. Then let's go to the move and transform tool and flip this one horizontal here. Then go to snapping and turn on magnetics and move this one to the right until it's over here. And then tap the arrow. Maybe we need to move it slightly, a little bit more to the left. You can just tap here and tap the arrow again. Then for the rest of the house, let's make a layer on top of this one, tap the plus. Then for the color, grab this one, 3rd color in the 2nd row. Then go to the selection tool again, and let's start about here. Make a rectangular shape like this. And then go to the brushes, and let's use the studio pen, or actually the monoline brush is even better. And then make the brush nice and small, 5%, and then start in this corner and make a line going up and down here to make a closed shape and drag in the color. Now we have a little thing sticking out here, so we can just tap and hold the eraser to make that switch to the monoline brush. Make it a bit smaller, 2%. Then let's go here, make a line going down. You can actually hold your pen in place for a straight eraser line and tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly horizontal erasing. Now let's zoom out a little bit. It might be a little bit big. We can change that later. And now let's add some shading. Let's start on our house. Let's tap it and turn on alpha lock. Then grab our spackle brush and let's grab a darker color, fourth color in the second row. And let's set the size to 10%. And then let's just go over here, add some spackles. Make it a little bit darker under the edge. Let's make it even smaller, 2%. For some shadow underneath the roof. And let's also grab a different brush. Let's go to the inking brushes over here and use the Mercury brush. Let's make it nice and small, 1%. And then let's make these vertical lines. See if there's wood here. Just something like this. And let's also add some windows. Let's tap the plus for a new layer. Let's grab this color, second color in the second row. And let's use the selection tool again. Set to rectangle. And let's make a small window. And then let's tap the S-shaped ribbon again, and then let's duplicate this. You can actually do that by sliding down with 3 fingers and then tapping duplicate. And then we can move this one here. Tap the arrow, and you can duplicate it again. Maybe some windows here at the side, maybe a little bit lower. And then just duplicate this until you have a nice amount of windows. So something like this, and then pinch these together. And now let's add a little bit of a glow to these windows. We can go to the magic wand, then to bloom, slide to the right. So you get a little bit of light. You can play around with the burn and the size. So they light up a little bit. Go for something like this. Bloom is at 34, size at 21, and burn at 16. And let's also blur them a bit. Let's tap the magic wand again, and then go to Gaussian blur and slide to 1% or 2. And then tap the magic wand again. Then for the roof, let's go to this layer, tap it, turn on alpha lock. Let's make this one lighter. Let's first grab this color, second color in the second row, drag it on there. Then let's grab our spackle brush again under recent brushes. And then let's grab this one, first color in the second row. Let's set the size of the brush to 10% and lighten up the lower part here. And then let's also grab this color, third color in the second row. Add some of that to the top here. Something like this. I hope you are enjoying creating your winter scene so far. Now, if you want to learn a lot more about digital painting and drawing in Procreate, if you want to work on your sketching skills, if you want to learn painting realism, or if you really want to dive into more advanced Procreate techniques, then you are ready to dive into the more than 200 videos I have at Patreon. Just check out these amazing works that patrons have created after following my tutorials there, or just check what people are saying about it. So if you're ready to go to that next level, then I will see you at Patreon. But now let's continue working on our winter scene. Then let's go back to these layers. Let's merge the windows with that other layer here. So we have one layer. Then let's grab that light color again, first color in the second row, and with the spackle brush, go over here to make it blend with the snow. I do feel like we can move our house up a little bit, perhaps. We can select the layers of the house by sliding to the right. Like this, we have 3 of these layers. Then we can go to the Move and Transform tool, and we can just move it around. Let's turn off magnetics here. Let's move it over here, and then tap the arrow again. I'd like to have a house over here as well, so we can simply duplicate these layers. You can do that by having all 3 of them selected and tapping and dragging them onto your canvas. So now here at the top, we have 3 more layers. We can select them. Let's actually group them by selecting all 3 and tapping group. We can do the same for these 3. And you can close the group, keeping things a bit more organized. Let's tap and hold this one, drag it over here, and then select the top group, go to the Move and Transform tool, and move this house over here. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's set this to freeform. Change the shape a little bit. And I also want to change the colors a bit of that underside. Let's open this group, go to this layer, and then let's make this one lighter. Let's grab this color, second color in the second row, then back to the layer, tap it and use Fill Layer. Then let's go to our spatula brush again, grab this third color in the second row, and then let's shade this a bit. Add some shadow underneath here. You make the brush smaller, like 1%. Adding that shadow underneath. We could go even darker with the fourth color in the second row. And then let's also add a few thin lines with the Mercury brush. Now we can also add some windows. Let's do that on a separate layer. Let's tap the plus, grab the selection tool, set the rectangle with color fill turned on, and we can add some windows. You could also just do this by hand, making multiple windows, or you could use the option to duplicate them again. It's easier to get the same size if you do that. But you could also go for something like this. And then tap the S shape ribbon again. Let's just slightly blur these by going to the magic wand and to Gaussian blur. Slide to the right, 1%, and then tap the magic wand again. So now we have some cute little houses. We're almost there. Let's finish our lake, add a boat, and some branches in the foreground. But of course, we shouldn't be forgetting about adding some snow here at the underside of that house. Let's pinch these together. Then let's go to our spatula brush, grab that first color in the second row, and then add a little bit of snow here to make it blend, just like this. All right, then for a little boat. Let's actually, well, we can pinch the houses together. We don't need to work on those anymore. Then let's go to the lake layer over here. Tap the plus for a new layer on top. And then let's grab this red color. Fifth color in the first row. And for the brush, let's use the studio pen. Let's set the size of the brush to 4% maybe. And let's make a boat shape. We can start with a line like this. You can just hold your pen in place. Tap one finger on the screen for a nice straight line. And then a line going down like this and this. Then connect these. Just a very simple boat shape. Drag in the color. Let's see, maybe we can make it a little bit bigger. We can go to the Move and Transform tool, set it to uniform, make it a little bit bigger, and then tap the arrow again. Perhaps we can add a little bit to it. I think we have a nice boat shape here. Or maybe we can go up just a little bit here. Then we'll duplicate this layer. We'll go to the layer menu, slide to the left, tap duplicate. And then for this bottom one, we'll change the color to a darker one, to this one. 7th color in the first row. Let's drag it on there. Then go back to the top one and to the Move and Transform tool. Let's go in here and set it to Warp. And then you can use these handles in the middle to move this down a little bit and to get more of a 3D look for your boat. And then tap the arrow again. Then let's add some shading. Let's turn on Alpha Lock on the layer and then go to the spackle brush. And with this darker color, we can go along the edges here. Add some spackles. We can also go a little bit lighter with this color, 4th color in the first row. Add a bit of that to the edge. And you could also use the Mercury brush with a dark color like the 7th color in the first row. And you could add these lines. Then for the inside of the boat, you can also tap the layer, turn on Alpha Lock, go back to that spackle brush, and add some lighter red. Let's grab this 5th color in the first row, add a little bit at the ends, and maybe a little bit of this 4th color in the first row to the edge here. All right, now we have a simple boat. Let's pinch this layer together and then duplicate it by sliding to the left, tapping duplicate, go to the bottom one, then go for this color, 5th color in the 2nd row, tap the layer and use Fill Layer. Then we'll go to the Move and Transform tool again, set it to Uniform, then use Flip Vertical, and you can turn Magnetics on again, and then move it down for a reflection. Then let's go to the layer, tap it, and turn on Mask. And then with black, your color set to black, we are going to use the Mercury brush, and we are going to block parts of this reflection. But I want the lines to be perfectly horizontal. And a way to do that is by going to the wrench, then to Canvas, then turning on your drawing guide, then go to Edit Drawing Guide, and turn on Assisted Drawing, then tap Done. And now all your lines will either go up, well, you can't really see it now because I'm on the mask. They go up vertically or horizontally. But we don't need the grid. We can just go to the wrench, turn off that drawing guide, and it will still work. And now I can make these horizontal lines through that reflection, making it blend with the water. And what you could actually also do is go to that layer over here, tap it to turn on turn off Alpha Lock, and let's blur it just slightly. Let's go to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur, blur it a little bit like this. I'm at 3%. Then let's make a new layer on top of this. Let's tap the plus. And as you can see, here we have Assisted turned on. That means that all our lines will follow that grid. And let's do that for this layer as well. Let's tap it, turn on Drawing Assist. And now let's add more to our reflections. Let's actually use the Studio Pen. Let's make that nice and small. Let's see the size. Let's set it to 2%. Now let's add some, well, this is too big. Let's add a little bit to that reflection. And let's also add some lighter color to the reflections. Let's grab the 2nd color in the 2nd row. And let's use it on the water here. Make the brush a bit bigger again, 3%, or what is it? 4. make these lines on the lake. And we can also go lighter with the first color in the second row to add some lighter lines here in the center area. Let's go for something like this. Then let's go to the magic wand, to motion blur, and slide to the right to slightly blur these. Let's go for like 29%, and then tap the magic wand again. Next, for some branches, let's make a new layer on top of all the others. Let's tap the plus here. For our brush, let's use the Mercury brush. And for the color, we'll use the 5th color in the second row. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger. Let's see what 5% is way too big, maybe 2%. That could work. And let's make some branches. Use very light pressure as you move outward to make the branches thinner as you move out. Make some more over here. Some side branches. Something like this looks good. Then let's do the same on this side. That one's a bit too thick. This will nicely frame our scene. So very little pressure. Something like this. Then I'd like to add some flowers to this. Let's use that 5th color in the first row. And then let's just add some simple flowers by making like these dots. And then like 5 little dots in a little circle. Just in some random places on the branches. And over here. And on this side. They give such a nice contrast with the blues. Right here. And let's also use this brush to add some snow. Let's grab the first color in the second row, and you can make a new layer for this for our snow if you like, or just continue working on the same layer. That's fine as well. And let's add some snowflakes. Well, a variety of sizes. So here in front of our sun. And here at the top, for a nice contrast, I'd like to add some snowflakes with blue with this third color in the second row. A nice contrast against the sky. Then finally, let's just add a little texture to our snow in the foreground. Here on layer 4, let's tap it, turn on alpha lock, and then grab the spackler brush. And with the size add, well, let's set it to 45%. Let's go over that lower area, adding some texture. And then let's go lighter with the second color in the second row. Add some of that on top. And of course, you can always add some more light by grabbing that first color in the second row again and going over the top and lightening that up. And there you have your winter lake illustration. Don't forget to share your result, and I will see you next time for the next tutorial. Thank you for watching.